Hello and welcome to this week's episode of TLDR CLG. This is the week of May 18th, 2015. I'm Brendan and these are my co-hosts Cry and Jim. So, for what happened this week, there has been amazing, great, juicy dramas, soap operas, dramas, telenovelas, Japanese like geisha flicks, K-dramas, Chinese like moon festival stuff. Everything's been coming out.
Okay.
And
well, congrats r/CLG. Link's gone. Hope you guys got what you wanted.
Sure. So if you're not understanding,
hey, so instead of being the figuratively missing link, he's literally the missing link.
Yeah.
Or like the link. I don't know.
Link to the past.
I was gonna come up with a good pun, but nothing was as good as that. Never mind.
It's not even.
Nothing was as good as that. So you're saying my puns are good, eh?
Okay. More or less, if you haven't paid attention, CLG announced that they were replacing Link in the mid lane with Pobelter and Huhi. And following this, Link tweeted that he was going to give a more formal response of his farewell.
Formal. He said more extensive, not formal.
Oh, more extensive. Well, his more extensive response was 18 pages explaining his perspective of his entire time while playing on CLG.
I think the
inner workings of the team, his interactions with different players, how he thinks the team worked and why it failed, etc.
Yeah, and from this 18-page farewell letter, we got a response from Double, Chowster himself, X-Special, Nyan. Zion said something in relation to it also, but not directly to the farewell letter.
It was a farewell to Link, but it was
response, Bonnie's response, and Thorin literally posted an hour and a half worth video, literally just reviewing Link's documents.
Hey, I normally watch Thorin's videos, but I didn't watch that one because knowing that it was going to be an hour and a half of Thorin saying
Link's an idiot.
No, CLG is a terrible team, and I hate them.
No, he didn't. He didn't say that. It was very reasonable. He went down point by point from Link's thing. It was pretty good.
He comes up with very logical points.
Yeah, and then Richard Lewis' response was kind of like Richard Lewis also had a response, which was saying this was a long time coming. Everyone knew CLG was a shit show. We just didn't know the specifics, you know.
Yeah. Didn't he point out that this is it's the same? It's akin to what happens in other teams.
Yeah, but just not to this level, you know.
Well, here's the thing: we don't know if it's to this level, and a lot of
point.
The problem that I think he highlighted most was that what shows that CLG was more of a shit show in a sense was that they were not able to make Link not feel like he had to do this. A lot of other teams, like I think X-Special's response video was saying he could have probably went into the drama between him and Reginald quite heavily, because if you go look at that historically, there is no reason other than some sort of personal drama for TSM to get rid of X-Special. And that's what happened, but he didn't do it because he has a professional relationship that he wants to keep there. And Link didn't want to, and it's his right to do so. So now we have this wonderful set of essays
and treatises on the state of CLG and Kingdom Fest. But then, in addition to that,
Hotshot had his official response on r/CLG. If you guys want to check that.
And what's his face? Elements had a very, very, very lit. Hey, Jim and I. Well, Jim cares. I don't really care about Elements.
I have my picture somewhere. It's
Elements died to me as soon as he joined Curse and started playing support fiddlesticks.
Okay, anyway.
Freaking Link. You should burn that now.
I just remember that existed. Anyway.
Tear it in half and put a
Tear it in half. And then, start throwing darts at it.
We don't hate Link, guys. Come on.
I like Zelda. I like Zelda.
He did well for himself.
I like Zelda, but I don't like Link.
Okay, maybe some of you guys weren't, fans of him, as a player, but, none of us can really know him enough to say, oh, I hate you. Plus, that's kind of rude. Anyway.
Yeah. Otherwise, there wasn't much with...
That's fine. Yeah, I think Link was okay, but then... I'm saying that hate's a very strong word, and... whatever. He did what he could. I think he's...
So cliche, my friend.
Hey, whatever.
Hate's a very strong word.
But you know what? You know what else is a very strong word?
There was more important things. There were actual games. There wasn't.
Wait, we had.
That's how angry I got.
Anyway, we had an entire week of that CLG League of Legends drama. So if you guys want to go back to it, we're gonna put a link to the mega thread.
There's a mega thread on our server, and there's a mega thread on the main League of Legends server, which chronicles everything. Yeah. So we'll try to have links of that in the description while Jim fixes his webcam. We're gonna jump straight over to the games with guns, aka Combat Arms. I mean, not Combat Arms. CS:GO.
Crossfire.
Crossfire. Yes, the one with Koreans in it because Koreans are better at everything.
Yeah, stuff.
Okay, NA is irrelevant, guys.
Are you saying anything new?
So if you haven't followed CS:GO yet, what there is big to know is there are 2 leagues running currently that CLG is a part of: the ESEA, ESL, super awesome, very money intensive league, and the CEVO league. The ESEA league had one game this past week for CLG, which was CLG versus Nihilim, in which Mo stood in, and they played on cash. CLG played on the T side to start and went 5-10, which is pretty reasonable on cash, given it becoming more CT sided, or at least players realizing how to play CT side stronger. Mm-hmm. And there was a 9-6 attempt at a comeback that CLG made, getting them into that last round of the game, but they weren't able to close it out and get the 15-15.
Well, isn't it closing out? They weren't able to come back because they were never really ahead to
close out the comeback.
Okay, then I guess.
It was after this game, right?
If you're 14-15, you have to close it out still.
No, but I think it's like you know, when you say like a comeback, when you say it's like closing out the game, you think of like someone just like systematically winning. But then it's just like finishing the comeback is like something I more expect. Semantics.
But in the end, CLG lost 16-14 versus Nihilim, who now has their full roster with Semphis and Hiko, and Hiko looked pretty hot.
Okay.
In more ways than one.
Mm.
And
big bearded men.
This game,
it was after this game that he dropped out of like big tryouts for becoming the 5th member, right?
That is Mo you're talking about.
Yes, Mo. I think I remember like seeing him tweet. He was like, "Oh yeah, I'll stand in for whatever they need, but in terms of actually becoming the 5th member, sorry, no."
I'm not going to be running.
Well, there was a little bit of like stream drama or whatever around.
But it was handled very professionally on both sides, I think. Right?
Reasonably, like if you watch streams, it's a bit different, but more or less. The team enjoys playing with Mo, and his in-game personality seems to be he's a better team player than people will give him credit for when he's streaming, because he's trying to be over the top and get viewers. Hence, I mean, like that's how you get people on stream. Apparently, he's quite a team player, and from watching their streams during games, he seemed to be reasonably
very focused.
But he himself and the team considered that his consistency in performance wasn't as much as they want for their 5th player, given that they're at least in these 2 leagues ranked at the top tier of the North American teams. They think, okay, well, we need to get someone that performs this highly, and potentially, I don't know if Mo didn't say anything on this, or I haven't watched his stream too much. He hasn't said whether he was to it or something, but if he plays games if he stands in for CLG, I'm happy to watch it. He seemed fun to watch.
All right, so moving on
for ESEA.
Okay, then moving on to CEVO, which we had 3 games, I think, which were 3 series.
CEVO is generally best of, right?
CEVO is best of 2.
Yeah, okay.
We played 6 games or 3 matches.
Okay.
Versus Luminosity, Lunatic, and Affinity, respectively. And we lost in a way all 3. We tied versus Lunatic. So our first game was against Luminosity, and we played
TTR's old team, or new team, sorry.
Yeah, Peter's new team. We had Lucky standing in this game, and we lost. We first played on Inferno, going 8-7 on our CT side, which you would think, okay, well, you win the CT side. Well, Inferno tends to be a highly CT-sided map, and winning 8-7 isn't the best of things. So we go onto our T side and don't come out and get the 7-8 to tie it up, and lose 1-9, not getting any T side strats rolling really.
Which is actually kind of interesting, because I think I read somewhere that CLG prepared specifically for T side strats. I'm not sure how that went down for them, but apparently it didn't work out because they lost really badly.
Yeah, that's definitely a good way to pick. The thing, it seemed like to me there were a lot of early round picks that made it kind of like if you get picked when you're crossing mid or going up banana or something on your T side, that can just one pick can just ruin everything, ruin the strat. So they lost that game pretty handily, 16-9, and then played Cash the second map, starting T side this time, going 4-11, which it's again not so great. And we're able to pick up 6 rounds on the CT side before before Luminosity was able to close out on them. It was overall Luminosity seems like they're together. I think the big one is Flom stepped down and they have, was it Lex now or no? I think Lex was there before, but I recall Flom stepped down and now they have another player in for him and they've seemed to be
gelling quite well
on point. Yeah, their new players like having Pitt and having Peter have fit into the roster quite well, and they're up there tied for the top of this
league.
This league, yes.
Okay.
And like analysts that are paid to watch these games and so on and so forth have mentioned that CLG seems like one of the more emotionally driven teams. So whenever you see them be on a really good streak, they end up going on a really good streak. But whenever they get shut down, they seem kind of at a loss. Which is interesting enough because before this they had like a 5-game win streak, and now they're at a 4-game loss streak.
4?
So just or game as in
4-match, yeah.
4-match loss.
Yeah, match. There you go. So I don't know.
Yeah,
that's
but that was
streaky.
It with Luminosity. Following Luminosity, there was a game versus Lunatic, which ended up as a tie because the best of 2 system. Lucky was standing in again. First map was Cash, which we started off on the T side. Again, like 5-10 T side on Cash isn't awful. It's winnable. It's not like what you really want, but it's winnable. We failed to close out, failed to make our comeback happen on Cash, and Lunatic closed out pretty quickly with winning 6 rounds to CLG's 5, making it a 16-10 half. Or 16-10 map. Following that, there was Inferno, in which CLG went 13-2 on their T side, which kind of gives credence to how did they not have such a good T side in the Luminosity game? Well, seemingly they worked on it.
Well, you have to remember that Luminosity and Lunatic are 2 different levels of teams as well.
That's very.
So even though
their strats work against teams that aren't of the same caliber.
So even though this is a better scoreline, it may not be reflective of their overall improvement because they're just Luminosity seems to be on an upswing and a very good team at the moment, and Lunatic has not proven that as of yet.
Yeah, and further, CLG wasn't able to close out that their CT side very easily, given they gave up 7 rounds to Lunatic's T side before winning the 3 that they needed to. Yep. And let's say this played out to 15 rounds. Lunatic could have, at 7 rounds at that point, Lunatic could have easily won the half, getting an 8th T side round, or getting 7 rounds on a T side is generally considered a win on Inferno.
Yeah.
CLG just had such an amazing
lead.
Yeah, there was
that Inferno T side start is disgusting.
Yeah.
I can't imagine any team any upper echelon team getting that lead and not closing out swiftly afterwards.
Exactly. Well, that's why it was it's a little bit frustrating. It's okay, well, you should be able. Maybe I didn't. I'd have to go rewatch it again. I don't know if they did any interesting CT strats just because they had the lead. I don't know if it would be worthwhile to do that, but they weren't able to close it out as quick as you would hope they would. 16-9 is not as impressive as 16-2, 16-5, which is what you would expect them to have closed out
after with a 13-2 start on T side on Inferno.
Exactly. Their next matchup was versus Affinity, in which Affinity won.
Oh man, that game was a little bit depressing to watch, actually.
Can you expound on that?
Okay, so Affinity, the first map was on Dust 2, and they started on T side. Yeah, it was a 12-3 win, and on the CT side,
12-3 win for
Affinity,
for CLG. CLG started out on the T side, winning the side 12-3.
Yeah, they were doing pretty well, but then on the CT side,
12-3 is
had
more than pretty well, isn't it? 12-3, I'd be
yeah, I mean, but relative to what happened in the second half, where Affinity came back 2-13. It was pretty gross. I remember watching for the 8th round, because early in the beginning, CLG was even on T side, even though they were winning, the very first couple rounds they were behind, and I think it was the 8th round. Yeah, okay. On the 8th round, they were able to pick up 2 ops from the enemy team, but then they should have been able to what?
They pried those weapons off their dead corpses.
Oh yeah. They picked them up, and like literally, CLG should have been able to work around that, especially because it like that was really good for their economy. They didn't. They lost it, and it was just like,
Cringe.
Are you like a teenage?
Yeah,
Are you like a?
that was really painful to watch.
Are you like
I
a
mean,
valley
they
girl? Oh, are you like a valley girl now? You can't even.
Yeah, I can't even. I have my Starbucks in one hand, my UGG boots, and my avocado.
Do you have a North Face jacket? You better have a North Face sweater.
Well, we're in SoCal.
Yeah.
You should be in like Daisy Dukes and like I don't know, a bikini top or
Yeah.
something.
But literally the entire time that game was like, at least the first map was going on, I was like, oh my god, CLG, are you okay? Like, what's going on?
I'm just imagining like halfway through the game is like Michael Jackson like pops in. Annie, are you okay? Are you okay, Annie?
Yeah.
How
And
about
then
map 2?
yeah,
Map 2, let's
the
go on.
second map
Before.
was Cash. They had a T-side start. It was 7-8. It was all right. It wasn't
Mhm.
bad. It was 7 and yeah, it was pretty.
I mean, that's
pretty
better
close.
than the other cash starts that they had this week.
Yeah.
Which
was
isn't
actually
saying
a
very
big
much.
improvement. Well, I mean, the players on Twitter are very vocal about like,
Yeah.
hey, we're improving, we're working hard, and so on and so
Well,
forth.
getting 7 to 8 on 2 sides fine, especially
Yeah.
since it's
Yeah,
become
it's good.
or CT sided.
Yeah. So yeah, CT side, and then they 7-8. They got closed out on. And I don't know, the Affinity match overall was pretty, like, really close, a lot closer than it should be, especially considering the fact that Affinity is considered to be worse. But I don't know, I had a hard time.
You had a lot of feelings. I like to call them CLG
Yeah.
feelings, where you're just like you're
No,
brought up.
wait, you guys know when you're watching like bronze plays? I mean, not that they're bronze. It's just like that same kind of.
They're
feeling
silver.
Like,
They're silver.
You had it. You had it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You know that CLG feeling where you have a little bit of hope, and then the roller,
And then
it just like
from
plummets
right
off a
between your
cliff.
fingers.
You know
I
that's
think a good way to put it is that, like, as a whole, like, my opinion of it, CLG didn't win particularly any match this week. They tied and then lost every other match. I think it's the if there's any reason, like maybe people saying emotional or whatever, the not having a set in stone roster seems to have like really gotten to them. They haven't had they've had lucky this week, but they haven't had a set in stone roster. It's likely that they're playing with lucky but trying out other people in scrims.
Yeah.
And that's going to get to someone. Like if you're trying someone out in a scrim but they can't play in your other league, if you've been practicing with them all day and then you switch to someone else, the dynamic of using that player isn't going to be the same. It's just it's a whole different beast. And I honestly myself, I was surprised that in the previous weeks we'd seen CLG perform so well without a set in stone roster. And this is the more of the comparable to what I was expecting. So they got a good start. They're still tied or in the lead. Like they're number one in North America in both of these leagues, even if it's by tiebreaker points. CLG has the lead that they need to get started to at least have this room. Like they have room to make this get this fifth player in the roster and get back rolling and start to dominate again.
Cadian,
which is good.
Cadian
yeah, it's good that they got this
really
cushion, and hopefully in the upcoming weeks we'll see them rebound or potentially pick up their settle on the roster and
settle,
iron some things out, and then start to perform well against the teams that they crush, the teams that they should crush, and have very good games and good showings versus the teams that are also of the same caliber.
All right. So since we talked about being bronze and ironing out issues, now we just need to move on to the golden age. So Halo, it is.
Yeah.
So Halo Golden Age, just have that faith.
Have faith.
Keep on faithing.
Keep on. I love these faith
comments
themes.
For the subreddit said that. Keep on faithing.
Yep. I love how these are evolving a little bit, bit by bit. So as we continue with our faith, this one is not so bueno. Happy news and sad news. Do you want to hear the bad news or good news? Bad news or the good news first?
Good news first.
Good news is that Ogre 2 was at his brother's wedding, and then they had lots of fun. I think Ogre 1's getting married, unless there's like an Ogre 3 somewhere. So they were having lots of fun there. And then the bad news is that he wasn't able to play during the HCS Cup #2. So they had to have someone named Clutch fill in as a stand-in. And
Was
we...
he clutch?
Well, let me
Not
just
as much as
continue.
they wanted to.
So, he was as clutch as Link was in a game versus Liquid.
Ooh.
It's a game versus Liquid, so we can blame Xpecial, except Xpecial isn't on that
we can
roster.
make fun of Link now because technically he's not on CLG. So.
Special was watching the stream and cheering on his team, and
You know, stuff happens. We lose. We not the bomb because we lost Shrine Bomb. We lost Lockdown Slayer. We lost CT Capture the Flag. We lost CT Capture the Flag. I'm mixing them up by Halo and CS:GO. We lost Shrine 3 Flag Capture the
we
Flag.
lost both games on Shrine and one on
The Slayer Lockdown.
We
We won King of the Hill. We won Warlord.
We won King of the Hill on Warlord. Traditionally, CLG has played quite well on Warlord, except for like having trouble against the really high tier teams. One of the things to point out is the team that we played, Team Liquid. They were several members of other highly competitive teams in the past.
I think
past
some
season.
of them were in Noble Black, and then before that, some of them were on Cloud9. Just the other
There were
top
two
teams.
players from Noble Black and two players from Noble Black and one from Cloud9. I think is correct, but more or less the better way to put it is this team was formerly known as the Other Guys. They were just players that got left without rosters in a way, and they're all high tier players. It's not like Team Liquid picked up a team that is no name, no nothing. Well, I guess the Other Guys is almost no name, but
No name, no fame.
Team Liquid didn't just pick up some random roster. They picked up players that are known for performing, and CLG having a sub in. I guess this is becoming a common thing. Having CLG having a sub in.
I was told that CLG would perform better with subs. What is this blasphemy?
Yeah,
We won a LAN with X Hazard. With X Hazard.
No, we won a LAN with Salsa.
Salsi. And
Yes.
X Hazard and Wings of Death X.
Yeah, we're cool.
We're so good.
But more or less that's it for Halo, I'd say.
Don't condescend to me.
No, I'll be condescending at some point.
No, you had to don't condescend to me. You use condescend as a verb.
No, I'll condescend you.
Stop.
Maybe too old of a meme for everyone to remember. So, moving on to the plays of the week. I would nominate Link's 18-page rant as the play of the week. That burns so many bridges. That was
You
a
are
highlight.
joke, but I was legitimately gonna say that.
That's awful.
I was gonna nominate Link for MVP of the week for writing that paper. Like, okay, it's gotta be some sort of accomplishment for a team that's not even playing, like,
Drama.
in the off season to be talked about so much. That's gotta be some
Well,
sort
I mean, if you add all the pages together, you could probably write a thesis on CLG from all.
Oh, you could. No, definitely. You definitely could. There's enough evidence going around.
The CLG and the Devil Lift. An apple in one hand, and I don't know, a vial of poison.
Did you come up with that just now?
No, there's a bunch of I think that was one of the Twitter things. He's called the Devil Lift.
Devil lift? Okay, that's amazing. I didn't see
An
that.
Afro move is his the clopped horns on the Taran feet on the
Jesus.
devil, and then you have Zion Spartan. He's just sitting in the top lane doing God knows what,
Yeah.
And then there's Xmithy, just Xmithy's just
we have an actual play of the week.
Wait,
So
and that
we
wasn't the
actually-
play of the week? I thought we talked
No,
about
that
this.
wasn't
Link
the play
was
of
the
the
MVP.
CLG had already been Link had already left the CLG roster at that point. He can't get the play of the week. I'm sorry.
That's right.
Can you get a
Yeah.
play of the week for getting benched? Or getting removed? That's a good play. He was technically on the team still.
Hot shot or something.
Okay. Well,
Okay,
no.
what's your play of the week?
No, but apparently Double Lift
It's
is
a
in
nice
control of the
play
roster.
It's a nice play by Tarek with hiding around a smoke from the Lunatic game on Cash. Why don't we check it out?
Okay.
I don't think I saw a flash pop through it or maybe even any of their own smokes to give them some support once they got to the other side of it. They were just hopping through a smoke and into the crosshair of God knows how many players that were already over there. So wouldn't mind seeing Lunatic clean things up a little bit, but Tarek and FNS are in a great crossfire there.
Yeah, great setup there, Terry.
So, in a slightly more serious manner, we're not going to be talking about everything else, but we're going to be talking about the super awesome Tark play. So, Jim, can you just give us a rundown? What happened? Who died? How many smokes were used? Give us the stats, man.
Pretty pretty fucking standard sneaky.
Standard sneaky.
Yeah, Tarek goes into B site, throws a nice smoke to off of the wall, jumping down from heaven to cover up the entrance to B. Goes and sneaks into the corner of the smoke and hides there. And lo and behold, Lunatic decides to go a 4-man rush at B with one guy splitting middle, and they all run past Tarek, and
he backstabs all of them.
No, not backstab, just murders the shit out of them with an M4.
Okay, close enough.
Just sprays down everyone. He had nice spray control there. I'll give him that. Like it was beautiful. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. The round ended like right after, as you saw.
Okay. Well, so we have that great play. We have one more thing.
Who was the player of the week then?
Since we can't use the people who got removed,
I still think Link. Like,
I get since Big Fat GG is still on the sub roster or something.
Oh God, Big Fat GG's commentary was hilarious.
Huh? Big Fat GG is just my favorite of all time. Look, freaking Chowster even gave him all the shows. He's like, GG was just a good player. There aren't that many of those. GG's good.
Papa Chowster. Papa Chow says that GG is a good player.
Well, he's always right.
Everything I say is right. Insert Chowster meme here.
Everything I say is right.
Top fucking percentage. Can we censor that part out? So.
top fucking percentage.
Censor that part out too. So, player of the week, GG, or would you say who else would you put?
I think Cutler performed pretty well.
Cutler always performs well. We guess. Would you just put Cutler on this place?
The rest of the team
we need Cutler on a separate. It's not fair to put Cutler against everyone else. It's like Cutler has his own little Cutler section, Cutler awards. We give it to him every week, and then all the other plebs get another award.
Thank you to be honest, though, performing your standard, Cutler. Here you go.
No, seriously though,
job.
Good on Cutler for always being such a pillar for the CS:GO team.
He's the rock.
Because he's
Saint Peter. He's the rock of which we built our church upon.
Yeah, exactly. He's he does wonders for the team, and he doesn't get much credit because when PTR was on the team, everyone was like, "Ooh, Tarek, ooh PTR," and okay, yeah, sure, they're cool, but Cutler is the guy that's there all the time. So good for you.
I mean, I give credit all the time to all of them.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, just the masses in general. A lot of the time, the fame and the fortune.
I mean, if you're watching these games live, the shoutcasters have been giving quite a bit of credit to Cutler just because it's Cutler did a play, or they do mention often how consistent he is all the time,
yeah.
Which hey, he deserves the shout out. I'll agree, or I'll agree with myself.
Sorry, Link.
Yeah, that was about it for the week, right?
Yeah.
Not much else. I mean, we could ramble on about drama and nonsense for a while further, but it's not worth it at this point.
Well, in terms of at least next week, hey guys, one more week and we're back to LCS.
I thought we got relegated.
No.
Okie dokie, sorry about that.
Almost.
I had to run and grab something. So,
all right.
We have Cutler being the god that he is, bearded, wears a hat sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously does lots of stuff for the game. Cutler?
The only thing prior to the start of LCS Summer Split next week that we're going to see is the announcement of the coach, and if there are any other roster changes, let's say if the speculation that Stixay and Double Lift are playing the same sort of potentially swapping roles or anything like that.
My CLG sense was tingling when you said potential.
I try to use the term a lot here.
Yeah, and because they have the whole Pobelter Hui thing and Double Lift Stixay thing, and we're not in a best of 3 format, we're gonna have to see
how they figure it out.
They work that out. You guys were talking about it earlier off camera. They're just literally just gonna be used as subs, not even.
Well, that's what the players have been saying on their streams and whatnot. But the organization seems to make it off as a similar to where they're both starters, which is unlike
in this kind of situation.
I think making the comparison to Liquid's probably the best way to put it. Just with
Liquid,
with Piglet and Keith. If we see weeks on end of Pobelter not performing, or we don't know if Stixay is part of this thing or not. That's not confirmed at all yet. If we see weeks of Double Lift and Pobelter, vice versa, not performing. we're going to see the team, the management of the team say, you're going to sit back and you're going to have to sit in timeout and learn how to play in LCS if you want to get your spot back.
Which is good. It's motivational for the...
Yeah, potentially.
Potentially.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be interesting to see.
All right.
Yeah,
so aside from that, LCS starts in about 1 week, week and a half.
It's actually on the 30th.
So it's 12
days.
days.
LCS at least is on the 30th of Saturday.
A little bit less than 2 weeks.
We'll have more to report on that next week.
But I think one thing we can all talk about is Afremu streaming, right?
That he's going to be streaming.
He's always going to be streaming.
Is he in the next week?
Well, he's been streaming a lot for this week, and I love how we didn't mention it because this is the top quality of Challenger Series play with rank 5s, where we were Afremu, I think it was Cutie Pie, and the legendary Skoro himself, and a lot of other people who must not be named.
There's some fun stuff to watch, but I mean, there's not much to it other than nice, funny highlights to watch, so check him out. It's on the r/League of Legends, and I think we have links on the
subreddit. Or just go to his channel and just check out the stream. Those are hilarious.
Afremu's a good guy.
Yeah, go Afremu.
I approve. We have more games in CSGO.
Yeah, next week for CSGO and the ESEA, we have games versus Elevate, Paradox, and Keydstars.
Those games happen on, this evening in actually 24 minutes from now. But you guys won't see this till sometime. So something happened in a game yesterday. It'll be yesterday. Yeah. Something happened in a game versus Elevate that's happening 8 p.m.
Cry may or may not have fainted during that because Tarek obviously went off, or may or may not have went off because I don't even know. Let's just not do the hypotheticals. The game
hasn't happened yet.
So,
no, but we're talking as if we are on Tuesday. Therefore, it would have happened.
No, I might.
So Cry might. So we'll give her an oxygen mask after Tarek goes and slaughters everybody. But until then, so we won't spoil the game for you. So we won't spoil the game for you.
Further, let's put it this. Further, we have tomorrow or Tuesday the 19th at 7 p.m. PST. There's a game versus Paradox on Inferno, and following that on Thursday the 21st, we have a game versus Keydstars on Cobble at 8 p.m. PST. A couple things to note is that Paradox is 1-3 and is a lower placed team, but also has a pretty strong round differential compared to the other lower placed teams. We also have Elevate in our game versus them. Elevate is tied, or is currently in second at 4-2 in this league.
And we were tied with someone else.
We're tied with Elevate there as well.
What's our win-loss ratio versus?
Give us a better understandings for each league. Just give us a heads up.
More or less, CLG is at the top place of each standing.
Yeah.
And who's tied with us in each league?
Both Elevate and Keydstars are tied with us, and we're playing them both this week. Keydstars has 4 wins and are only down because of their round differential.
But they're in the 5th place?
They're in 5th place. There's several teams with 4 wins right now.
Okay, makes sense.
Tiebreakers, these will be fun.
Yes, they had Keydstars is back 2 games on CLG. Is tied in points.
God,
they all have 12 points, but they are down to us because since they haven't played those 2 games, one, they don't have the potential to have those extra points for winning. But if they lose, they may have better round differentials. Mm-hmm. But CLG has a better round differential than any of the other teams that are at that top standing right now, so they hold the top spot. So that's it in the ESL ESEA league. So 3 matches there, Monday, Tuesday.
And these are all going to be best of ones, correct?
Correct, best of ones. We know the maps already: Mirage, Inferno, and Cobble, respectively. And then we have 1 match in CEVO on Thursday prior to the Thursday game in ESL, which is again 2 matchups versus Elevate this week. And
I guess we can elevate our standing if we win these games.
Yes.
Oh my god, that was actually good though. Oh.
See?
Well, it would have been good if he didn't actually
say it.
You use a different word than elevate, and don't make it sound so punny. Cringe. Yeah, I'll get past that.
Okay.
But yeah, one thing to note with Elevate and CEVO is they've only played Tempo Storm and Method so far. In
Ooh,
this
Temple
league,
Storm. Become legendary.
but basically they haven't played any of the top tier NA teams yet. So, and I guess they have an ESL, but like CEVO and ESEA, different beasts. Basically, Elevate hasn't been able to prove that they're a top tier team yet in CEVO.
All right.
And that's about it for CSGO for this week.
So moving
Finally,
on to Halo.
Hello, guys. Woo!
Another
guys
online cup.
Yay! Online cups.
Ogre 2 is still going to be at his wedding thing.
He's gonna be hungover. Very hungover.
Oh, yeah. Probably that, too. But so, yeah, they're going to be playing with the sub again. And, yeah.
This is HCS Cup 3. Hopefully we have a better performance, more clutch performance.
Well, you know how it is. We had drama this week. We had underperformance this week. We had people not doing so well, and people not even showing up for matches because they're out of state. And we also had
classic CLG.
Gosh,
why did he even show up for that match? He was out of state.
why
Oh my
am
god.
I even here right now? You're just trying to conclude this. I'm done. Goodbye.
So
He doesn't have faith. That's why he's not here.
on that dank meme, we'll see you guys again next week. So hopefully you guys missed us. But
Oh, yeah, we had technical difficulties in the past couple episodes. Sorry, guys.
I blame Cry.
Whatever. It wasn't my fault. Screw you.